What's up, everybody? Well, I got another video for you guys today, and today we've got ourselves a new handheld to add to the team. And I've decided to pick up a Lenovo, if I can actually talk properly. Why can't I say Lenovo? A Lenovo Legion Go S with the Z1 Extreme. That's what we went with. For a second, I was like, what the heck? I know it's got a different name than the other one. I kept on wanting to just call it the original freaking Lenovo thing. But I was like, no, it's definitely not that. It's got a different name. So anyway, I just decided, you know what? It ticks pretty much all the boxes. The only thing I would personally like on this is if it had a little bit bigger battery. But at least they weren't completely foolish and give it something really silly like a 40 watt-hour battery like the original Z1 Extreme Ally. That was, hey, you want to play for 40 minutes if you're lucky? Have fun. Anyway, why don't we get to unboxing this thing? So as usual, before we get to unboxing, we can just take a quick look around the package. It doesn't really seem like it's anything too crazy. It's basically just brown box, says Lenovo and Legion all over it. You've got your little spec sheet right there that tells you everything. And speaking of which, we can go over that real quick. This thing's got the Z1 Extreme chipset, 32 gigs of RAM. I don't know the speed. I'll put the speed in the description. Then you've got your 55 watt-hour battery. It calls it a 3-cell. Steam OS and an 8-inch IPS display, which they call a WUXGATS panel. No idea what all of that is. And then on the bottom, there's just nothing besides a thing that's warning you that batteries can blow up, which we all know thanks to the Note fiasco. And yeah, after that, that's pretty much it. Not the most exciting box in the world, but hey, it is what it is. So now let's get to actually unboxing this thing. So of course we need our cool knife. You can't have a box opening without a cool knife anymore on this YouTube. There we go. So let's open this thing and see what we got. All right, so you are greeted with the freaking prismatic thing that says Lenovo Legion on it. So cool way to see that. Well, I guess let's take this out first. I'm willing to bet you this is like the wall wart and whatnot. Yep, so there's the wall wart. It's a 65 watt charger. And that's kind of cool. I like when they do the side thing so you don't accidentally hit it. And it's got like paper around it. Here's the little thing. Oh, you will come off. Whether I do it the right way or the wrong way, you're coming off of there, buddy. All right, nope, you're done. Yep, here we go. So nothing crazy. Just says 65 watt and Lenovo on it. That's all. And it has a little thing holding it together, but I don't think it's the one that actually sticks to it. I think it's just kind of there. And once you unravel it, it'll just, you know, never go back. And then is there anything else in here? Nope. That is it for the little box. So now that gives you a place to actually grab this. Oh, what else do we got under here? We've also got more stuff in here. So I'm gonna put this thing away just for a second. Oh. And also, it's got this. Maximize your potential. Of course, they want you to get Lenovo services. What company doesn't, right? All right, and then this is probably just like, oh, that's a pretty interesting giant box just for a little documentation. It's literally just for this little warranty card, and it's in a bunch of different languages. Safety information. Wait, I'm not allowed to eat this? Well, luckily they have this. I don't know. I was pretty ready to just eat this fucking handheld, but since they told me not to, I guess I won't. All right, let's get this big behemoth of a box out of the way. We are basically done with him. And now you are left with the prismatic little cover that tells you all the different stuff. Put that in either of those. You can put it in either one, just like Ally X. It has two, so that's nice. And you've got your power button. Other than that, ventilation, that's about it. You've got your little thing we first saw we opened it. Got a thing you can scan that probably takes you to the instruction manual if I just had to take a stab in the dark. And then yeah, then you've got your bragging stuff. You can game, you've got your triggers. These are the cool things. I've never seen a handheld that does this. You've got the cool little triggers. I'm never probably gonna make much use out of them, but well, actually no, I play some fighting games and stuff where I kind of like that stuff, but for driving games and stuff, obviously it's nice to turn that off so you can have, you know, not just full throttle, but it's nice to have that cool switch. And these all Hall effect everything. The thumbsticks, the triggers, everything is Hall effect on this. That's another badass thing about the Lenovo Legion Go. So now let's get it the heck out of here. All right, they even give you a little thing to grab, it almost looks like, but there it is. It's a pretty chunky tablet, but it's 8 inches, so of course it would be. All right, well, you just come out of there easily. Oh, you can push on it. There we go. Ooh, and yet again, one more thing that is not necessary. And now we just have it in this little baggie. So let's get it out of the baggie, huh? Obviously, it's not the most luxurious unboxing, but some of the stuff's nice. I liked the little prismatic thing. I wished for like 870 bucks. 879 with Michigan tax anyways, how much this thing was out the door. For that, I feel like it should have came with a little carrying case. I kind of thought that about the Allies as well, but hey, at least the Steam Deck gives you a case. But there we go. It's got this cool purple. A lot of people don't like purple, but I kind of like purple. I think it's because my grandpa had this really cool midnight purple van that had all these cool sparkles in it, so when the sun hit it, it looked like all rainbow effect. I always thought that was badass. So it kind of reminds me of that, but definitely feels pretty good in the hand. I like that. That's the one thing I've got to have. Like the original Ally felt like shit in my hand. It cramped my hands and I just couldn't feel a good way to hold it. This feels great. Heck, it might almost feel better than the Steam Deck. I'll have to put them hand in hand hand, but right now for me, the Steam Deck is the best for feeling in the hand. Anyway though, you've got nice feeling thumbsticks. They don't feel cheap or anything. All right, that does not feel like the best, but not the worst D-pad either. You know what it kind of feels like? If any of you guys are as old as me, do you guys remember like the Sega Genesis kind of thumb pads? It kind of feels like a Genesis D-pad, which is okay with me. I'm used to those. Then you got your full-size buttons up here. You've got like a little, oh yeah, you even got a Steam OS button. Then you've got your little menu button, and then these are probably the same thing as the Steam Deck. You've got these little Steam lines and then your menu, so you can open up those two little windows on the side instead of doing what I have to do on my Allies, where I have to just hit back until I get the little like library screen, because at least I haven't figured out anything on the Ally I can press to bring up that little menu that pops up, or I have to click it with my finger and bring it up. Anyway though, you've got your dual stereo speakers. I'm excited to see if they sound halfway decent. You've got your one big vent that's just off to the side. You got two full-size USB 4.0 ports there, which can also do external GPUs to my knowledge. Then you've got your volume rocker, you got your power button, and then of course you got your triggers. Not the best feeling. I'm not gonna lie, those feel a little cheap. Yeah, the triggers definitely feel a little cheap, but hey, as long as they perform well, that's all that really matters at the end of the day to me. And then you've just got on the back, you've even got little bumpers if you want to sign them up for something, and then you've got your thing where you can lock that shit, and I think you can go, okay, no, you gotta pick one or the other. It doesn't let you go in between. Just want to test it real quick, and then you've got all your ventilation, so it can breathe really easy. They didn't put like the fan there and then have half of the plastic covered up with no ventilation like the original Ally did. Even the X is like that a little bit. Not like it's a bad thing, but I just noticed once I got that new back from my Z1 Extreme, it pretty much got the same temps as the newer X with the better fan and heat pipes and all that shit. So now that we've had a quick look around the thing, why don't we power it on for the first time and see what's what? All right, let's try powering this thing on for the first time. Now, it did say I'm pretty sure that you have to plug it in to get it to turn on. Yeah, that ain't doing nothing. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw on the little thing when I was unboxing it, like, hey, it won't turn on unless you plug it in for the first time. So here we go. It is now plugged in. All right, it is definitely blinking, so it is getting power. So now with that, we should be able to, here we go. And then as I usually do, why don't we take our obligatory hit for good luck? Man, I hate when that happens. It like opened up an air hole and gave me like 80% air and like 20% weed hit. Hopefully that's not a bad sign. Okay, well so far it's given us lights on the thumbsticks. Oh, I saw the screen do something. There we go. Don't scare me like that, you little bastard. I thought it wasn't gonna work. Oh, I forgot something during the one thing. You also do have an SD card slot at the bottom where it belongs. Unlike the freaking Z1 Extreme, we're like, hey, these things don't like heat, right? All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and put it right where all of the heat comes out and gets the hottest. Sound good? Fuck yeah, let's do it. You know, I just can't fathom how things like that get through like R&R. Like someone at the table has to go, guys, that's fucking retarded. What are we doing here? But anyway, all right, so I definitely cannot speak Chinese, Japanese, or any Asian language whatsoever, so we're just gonna stick with good old English, I think. We are definitely not in Pacific time. I am in the 5.0, or 9 is 5. There I am, Eastern. All right, well, we'll sign into that. I'm just gonna turn the camera off for a second though. I'm not gonna have you sit for my long ass pass. All right, we have connected to the network. I'm glad I did not do that because it takes me forever to type that in on a, whatchamacallit. I could have just typed on the screen, but I hope it's installing some stuff. Okay, well, all right. We've pretty much done all the stuff you'd normally do while starting up instead of just, you know, pointing a camera and hear me rambling. Well, that pre-installs all of its apps and installs and probably has me sign into Steam and all that stuff. So I'm gonna go sign into Steam and all that stuff and we'll come back when it's all done. All right, as it was installing, I just wanted to say something that it did that was pretty damn weird and pretty lame as far as I'm concerned. Everything was working great, like all the buttons and everything, but after installing the newest update, none of this stuff works anymore. Every single button doesn't do a thing. So I'm hoping once I get all the way signed in and maybe after it restarts again or something, I'll have them, or after a restart. But for now, we've got to sign into Steam, and I'm not gonna lie, this is my favorite part about Steam. I love being able to just be like, bam, sign in and press to approved, and there it goes. That's so much cooler than having to type in all your shit. And then like Gabe said, it's almost impossible to steal people's games as long as they've got that Steam Guard stuff. He literally gave his shit out, and apparently, unless it's a load of shit, no one's been able to steal his account so far. Wished almost everything had that. All right, welcome to Steam OS. Press any button. Yeah, see what I mean? So yeah. So this is the Steam button that doesn't work. Gotcha. Quick access button. Okay. That would be great if it worked. I know the power button's a power button, which is cool since it's SteamOS. You can do what you do on like a console or switch something. In the middle of a game, oh well. Get power, you're right, come back, you're right where you left off. I always liked that. Windows can somewhat do that, but it usually uses more energy, and sometimes you come back and the game's either not there or frozen. So yeah, this is kind of an issue. I don't know about you guys, but I like my controllers to work. So I'm gonna go ahead, and it looks like it has another update, so I'm gonna go and run that. Hopefully it will let me have controllers after that. So we'll be right back. All right, I got the stuff to work. It was a pretty stupid solution. You'll laugh at this. Okay, so I installed the update, still had no controls. Okay, I tried going to the settings, couldn't find anything in there, so I just decided, all right, let's just turn it off and into rest mode and back, and yeah, now everything works. And you can still hit back to get to that menu. Sometimes on some of my systems, I get into an infinite loop. Oh yeah, you can go through here. This is very nice and smooth. I like that. Like sometimes when the Steam Deck, when it first came out, like, and it was fresh, just doing stuff like this, it would lag and be terrible. Obviously, that's more than fixed by now. Except if you're in a AAA game or something that makes it work hard. If you bring up like just the keyboard or the menus or something in the game, it's pretty laggy, honestly, still. Kind of curious to see how this thing handles that. But anyway, let's go take a quick look at like the settings and stuff. That's the Steam button. Oh, does the Steam buttons and stuff not work? Well, that's not cool. Yeah, so the Steam menu buttons and this doesn't work. Interesting. Is it because I did that? Well, yeah, obviously this is what I was talking about. You can never back out of it unless you hit home. But yeah, that's kind of weird that the Steam button doesn't work. Let's try restarting it one more time. Or better yet, let's just shut it off. And then I'm kind of curious. Are my controllers going to be broken upon startup every time? That also would not be very fun. But hey, I figured there were going to be some issues with it. Hell, sometimes there's issues with Windows too. So it's not like I was expecting this to be flawless. Although it is kind of funny how it was working flawlessly until it got its first update, and then that seemed to break everything. All right, let's see what it does now. Because if that doesn't work, that's pretty terrible. That's pretty garbage. I mean, to not have a Steam button. I mean, unless it doesn't do anything on that screen, but I'm pretty sure my Steam Deck does stuff on that screen. Although I guess it doesn't have a Steam button now that I think about it, does it? There we go. Now it's working. So no, that button did bring up your Steam. I thought so. All right, that worked. That works. All right, cool. So now that that works, I was gonna say, that's the install button. That's between apps. That's the other quick settings I was gonna say. Performance plus customize is custom right now. I don't know what that means or if that's good, but we definitely want our overlay level. And yeah, you've got your quick settings here, just like on the Steam Deck. You can turn your rumble on and your haptic. You got friends list, you got your notifications. There's not too much here, but you can also, I guess, go to advanced view and you can go all the way down here and check also. You can limit your frames, you can disable the frame rate limit, you can, definitely want VRR on. You can set limits, you can manually, just anything you can do on your Steam Deck, you can pretty much do that. You've even got scaling modes, although it doesn't look like it has FSR like the Steam Deck did. I think that's a Steam Deck-esque thing. So that's that. Then you got your soundtracks and help. And that's that for that screen. And then if we come back over here, let's just go have a quick look at what we got in our settings. It should be very similar to the Steam Deck, but I just want to have a quick look. So here's all of our system stuff. So we're on 3.7.13 for OS version. Yep, the Z1 Extreme, 8-core 16 threads, 30 gigs of RAM. Oh wow, it gives you 10.5 gigs. Well, I guess when you got 32 gigs of RAM and you have a really efficient operating system. Now, if only my Firebat Mini PC could take a chapter out of that book. Anyway, and there you go. And you can factory reset it and all that stuff. Security, pretty self-explanatory. All your internet stuff. I hope I signed into my right Archer. One of them runs like absolute shit all of a sudden. I think it's just the router getting old and breaking. So I have to use one or two. I don't know which one's gonna be the better one. Oh, and we have another system update. Yep, another update. Cool. I'll do that in a second. All right, where were we? Notifications, display. So you got all your brightness. It's actually kind of right where I like it right now, too. Then we got power. Oh, that's cool. I wonder if I can do it on the Steam Deck, too. Because then I don't even really, half the time I'll run like the little tiny FPS counter up there just so I can see how much battery I have. But if I could just do that, then I don't even need that, you know? Bluetooth, controller. Well, all right. While I was installing Cyberpunk, I figured this is a perfect opportunity to show you its fan noise. Now, we are in a completely quiet environment. No TV, no background. Just like I have some air purifiers in the background. I don't even know if you can hear them, but check this out. Do you see those papers back there? It is shaking the absolute shit out of them for one, so it obviously has some pretty damn powerful fans. Oh yeah, and let me get the mic a little closer so you can hear. Oh no, you probably can already hear it a little bit from here. It's quite loud, but at the same time, it's not as annoying as like the Steam Deck's fan at like max speed and whatnot. Take a listen. Yeah, I don't know how well that comes through my mic and whatnot, but yeah, I thought that was a little crazy. I never really put my other stuff in front of like a couple receipts or whatever like that and seeing if it shakes them. I'm sure they do too, but obviously this thing has a pretty powerful cooling on it. Well, I guess we'll see in games what it gets in temps, because we're definitely going to try some Cyberpunk. The network seems to work quite well. I mean, I don't have anything fancy like Wi-Fi 7, so my downloads on wireless are not anything to write home about. Usually anywhere from like 65 up to like 89, but it usually goes right around the 70s for the most part. Kind of what it's doing right now, 69, nice. So there, pretty much just gonna wait for that to finish downloading, and then we'll get a little bit of some gameplay. And then in another video, we'll definitely come in and we'll verse it against some of my other handhelds we've got. We'll test out its battery life. We'll do all sorts of stuff. We'll really run this thing through its paces, since basically all I do all day is chill and do my own thing. I'm the perfect candidate to really test one of these things out. I can play any game anybody wants. You guys also just let me know, what games would you like to see me play on this thing? Because I'm probably going to do what I did with the Steam Deck and just do a Lenovo Legion Go S versus AAA games or something like that, and I'll just pick like some nice 2025, 2026 games and see how those all run on it. Because that video did really good. I think that's one of the best videos I ever made, was the Steam Deck versus AAA titles. I've never had another video get anywhere near that views. That shit got like right up to like 70,000 views, and I think now it's like at 87 or 89 or something crazy like that. That's nuts for a little guy like me who doesn't even have 10K subs. So if I could pull off a couple more successful things like that, I think I could really get my YouTube channel going. Obviously, most people aren't gonna go for what I really like doing, which is just testing games out. That's not gonna get you very many subs, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just having fun. Anyway, I'm gonna let it do its thing, and we'll come back when it's done. Well, all right. So, first game ever played on this thing, and we're gonna go ahead and just run it at its native resolution. It probably won't work the best that way, but hey, it is what it is. No VSync or any maximum FPS here, and we can go, oops, oh, don't do that. Phew. I want that. And then we got it says custom, but it's basically Steam Deck, only I put it up to FSR 3. I mean, I don't think there's, no, Intel is the next one. I didn't think they had 3.1 or anything like that. So, and then besides that, all I did was turned off depth of field and motion blur because I just don't like those. But besides that, the rest of the settings are the Steam Deck settings. So I don't know how playable this is going to be, but hopefully we can at least get 30 plus with these settings. I mean, the Steam Deck can in most spots, except for my LCD seems to play this game for a little while and then it starts overheating or something, and then it starts like dropping down like 8 FPS. Luckily the OLED doesn't do that. So I'm kind of curious how this will do. I mean, this thing's definitely got quite the fan noise, but it is just on custom, so I don't know what that is for wattage. Apparently that's 40 watts. It's taking 40 watts away from the battery right now. I don't know for sure if that's what it's using, but all I know is it's time for us to get into the game. All right, let's get ourselves some gameplay, and yeah, so far we're at least getting 40, 47, 44, so about 40 FPS. It's not too bad at all considering we're at 1200p right now with base. Obviously we're using FSR. I think it was balanced, so obviously it's not going to look the greatest on a bigger screen, but on a little screen, a little 8-inch screen like this, even though it's not OLED or anything, this isn't a bad IPS screen at all. If I remember correctly, it's a 120 Hz variable refresh rate IPS. It's okay, officer, I'm not up to anything. I'm only benchmarking. I promise I will not murder any of your citizens in this video. Well, unless they try to murder me first, then I can't make any promises. Yeah, no, this thing feels really comfortable in the hand. It feels like I actually have something to hold on to. Heck, who knows? If I use this enough, it might even be more comfortable than the Steam Deck. Oh, and the RAM is 937, so it must have the same speed RAM as the Ally X. I'm not quite sure what that is off the top of my head, but it didn't say what it was on the box. It just said 32 gigs of RAM. Yeah, they weren't exactly super specific on their specs on the box, but it is what it is. And even completely maxed out like this, 80% brightness, I think the power limit's just through the roof, we're still able to get an hour of gameplay, according to the little timer anyway. Obviously, I'm going to do a real battery benchmark versus all the rest of them when the time comes. And I think we'll go even more in depth and not just, you know, max out the power. We can also try like 15 watts and stuff like that. Because this thing just has a custom mode. I can go over there and set it up to whatever I want. Same thing with fan speed. If the fan speed's too much for you, you can always tone it down. But it's getting some really good temps. We're at 64 and 66. This thing might get like the best temps out of everything, actually. I I think that even beats out my Ally X and Z1 Extreme that I just did. Those are usually closer to 70, but we haven't been playing for a super long time yet, so let's just hold our horses. It might heat up quite a bit by the time we get done running around here. Yeah, this game is definitely pretty crazy how you can actually play a game that looks like this on a handheld. But unfortunately, just like with a lot of games, the frame times aren't the greatest in this game. That's why I kind of laugh. Like, some people have the misconception that every game on Linux just has the best frame times always, no matter what. And while it definitely seems to beat Windows a lot of the time, it definitely can have frame time skips like this. Alright, how much VRAM are we using? 5.5 gigs of VRAM. We're using 11.9 gigs of regular RAM. And then whatever P memory is, we're using another 3.9 gigs of that out of 140. I have no idea what any of that is or does, but hey. But yeah, so far we haven't had any humongo skips where it's just like fell flat on its face yet. Unfortunately, I'm already too far in the game, so I can't go back into Dogtown. I already completed it, and it won't even let me go back in at all. Well, probably because of the way I ended. I don't want to ruin anything, but yeah. Alright, now. We're benchmarking, maybe. Let's go that way. Cyberpunk. The GPU seems to mostly be staying at like 2.3 to 2.4 gigahertz, but it does have some blips where it goes all the way down to like 1.4, 1.7. But for the most part, yeah, like that. And I don't think it's throttling or anything. We're up to 67. I think the allies and stuff get up to like 70, 71, and 72 on the Ally X and 71 on the Extreme. I can't remember what my Steam Deck gets. I think the Steam Deck gets similar temps to this though. But that's crazy considering this is a much more powerful processor than what the Steam Deck's got. That thing's a 4-core, 8-core, or 8-thread little system. Not bad at all for what it is, but this thing's definitely got the edge on the performance, that's for sure. And yeah, still, we're only down to 57 remaining time. So yeah, this thing's not doing that bad, even though it's only got a 55 watt-hour battery. I don't know what custom mode is, technically. It just said custom. None of the modes really gave me a TDP like they do on the Steam Deck or the... Well, Steam Deck didn't really have modes. You just kind of pull up a little thing and say, hey, I want to limit the TDP. And then usually, unless you're playing like an emulated, or an old school emulation game or something, it usually falls flat on its face. So I very rarely turn that down. But there are some games, if all you want is 30 FPS and you're on a plane or something, you can go play a game at 30 FPS at like 10 watts or something, and it'll probably be alright for a lot of games. Not this one, though. I think if you tried to limit the Steam Deck's power of this game at all, you'd instantly run into under 30 FPS and not having a great time. I could test that out, obviously, but that's just my opinion on all the other games I've tried. Anytime I've turned it on just for a split second, I've never really been impressed, so I usually just let the Steam Deck go full hardcore mode on both Steam Decks. And yeah, this thing's still at least beating the hell out of the old Steam Deck LCD. No, we're not doing that. Because if I try to kill a Cyberpunk right now, I'm going to frickin' get owned in the face because I'm used to playing in this game with keyboard and mouse. I do not think I would do very good on a controller, like in an actual, like, fight. Maybe I'd do alright. I've said that before, and then I'm actually able to beat, like, what should we call it, like, gang members on the street here, but there's a huge difference between gang members on the street and cyberpsychos. Yeah, we'll definitely try this game out versus all of them when we go and do, like, the versus video where we, like, compare it to all the rest of them. And then, of course, I'll make a battery life video and all that stuff, too. And yeah, guys, just let me know what games you'd like to see me play on this thing. I do have quite a bit. I think I've got, like, 700 or 640 games on Epic from just collecting all the free ones mainly. I think I've only bought like 2 or 3 games on there. I usually try to stick with Steam Deck or Steam so I can play on my Steam Deck, and now this, just natively without any rigmarole. Now there are ways you can play like anything. You can get Battle.net installed and all that stuff. There's even like a program that lets you just basically download all that, all the extra ones now. Oh no! I've been run over. That's my fault. I was like just going right into the street. I mean, what do you expect? You go in a street where cars are, you might get run over. That's why I generally, in real life, just don't go into the street unless I'm allowed to. Like these people are. They're allowed to. That's if the cop can cross the road, I can too. Just watch though. They're like, haha, I walked on do not walk and you followed me, entrapment, now you're under arrest, dirtbag. Like, what the fuck? Barely legal. But yeah, if we were playing on my old school Z1 Extreme Ally with the original 40 watt-hour battery in here, hell, we'd probably already be well under like half. We'd probably be at like 48%, well, I probably 39% after playing for like, let's see, man, how long did that do? Because I tested this out before. I'm trying to remember how long it lasted. I think it lasted 40 minutes. And right now, with 78% battery left, we're still able to, at least according to the remaining time calculation, still beat that out. But hey, that's the difference between 40 and 55. That's still, what, 15 watts more? That still gives you a little bit more power. I would have preferred if they would give us at least a 65. 80 would have been great, but they were probably trying to keep the weight down a little bit. That frickin' Ally X is kind of a brick. It still feels heavier than this. I don't know which one actually is. I'll have to do that. I do have a scale. We can go see what all of them weigh. At least I think so. The scale might not work. It's meant for like weed and shit like that, but I haven't had to, now that dispensaries are a thing, I haven't really had to use it for anything, but it might be able to do it. I'm just worried these are too heavy and it might just go, error, too heavy. But hey, you can always give it a shot, and I can always just buy one. Buy a real scale, one from like meant for sending packages in the mail or something, and that would be more than capable of reading what these things weigh. But I think even my weed scale will probably be fine. Anyway though, we've been playing for like 10 minutes. We didn't have any crashes, we didn't have any humongous stutters, or anything weird happen. So, at least it's decently stable. So why don't we go ahead and go wrap this video on up. Well, alright guys, I think that's a wrap for this video. We had an unbox, we played a game on it, and I think that's plenty for like an unboxing video. We will obviously, like I said, make a video about its battery life, probably versus the rest of the handhelds I have too. We'll also test its performance in a bunch of AAA games. I just have to go download them all, so I probably won't do that today. Hell, just downloading them all will probably take all day. And I have to pick some out too. And then also want to have some performance tests to see how it plays in just other games too, like ones that have benchmark. I want to make one where it's just a bunch of AAA just playing the games, not really benchmarking. But I also want to do one just to, you know, a little more nerdy one where we see like Cyberpunk benchmark, see which one comes out on top, you know, stuff like that. I'll go find some games that have some nice built-in benchmark. So that's pretty much that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you guys, and I'm happy to have another handheld in the flock here. So that's all for this video. Until the next video, peace out, guys.